Happy Place Home Studios.
Welcome back to our Happy Place Home Studio series on Rocksmith Remastered 2014. This is part 2 of our series, which I'm calling Setup and Startup. Now, especially if you have a home studio, I don't think there's anything about installing and setting up Rocksmith that is beyond you in any way. However, if you're like me, your knowledge of Rocksmith at startup doesn't include some things that you may wish you had known later. And so I will kind of cover everything, but focus on some of those things that I wish I'd known when I first set up Rocksmith, because they would have saved me a lot of time and trouble, especially if, like me, you want to really have a big library of music that you can play with Rocksmith. So we're going to go over some of the basic functions of Rocksmith in the different modes that it has, physical connections, some of the user settings that are important. We'll even get under the covers a little bit to talk about where your downloadable content is stored and some of the strategies that you might want to employ to make sure that that stays manageable. So this session will be important and a springboard for some of the other sessions that we'll do. And let's jump right into it. My primary setup for using Rocksmith is in my studio. And it's a Dell laptop PC. It's probably about 4 or 5 years old, still running Windows 10. Real scared of Windows 11 still. It works great. I went with a PC rather than a Mac because my studio is primarily Mac, because the user-created content that I find on Customsforge, a lot more songs are made for PC than for Mac. Now, there's nothing super special about this configuration. Like most computers that you buy in the last 4 or 5 years, it's got plenty of RAM, plenty of speed. I have no performance issues really with this, except for the fact that I have 16,000 songs, as I keep saying. And Rocksmith loads all of the songs that you have in your designated DLC directory every time it starts. And I've got all 16,000 loaded, and it does get slow in navigation, not in performance. There's never a performance problem, but just in navigating around the app. I have this system set up as I try to set up most things in my studio to route the sound wherever I want it to go. So I can do everything from headphones to HDMI to my TV. You notice I have a large TV that I can reposition any way that I want. That's how I can see it to play. So the sound can go through that, or the sound can go to my powered speakers, if I, which is how I usually play to get, as much rocking and rolling as I can. You have a special cable that you need. You can order Rocksmith from Steam, and you can download it directly from Steam, but you still need the special Rocksmith cable. And the Rocksmith cable is pretty cool. One end is USB, and the other end is guitar jack. So you're able to play, your bass or your guitar with that, of course. This cable does come in 2 parts, which sometimes can be a little bit of a hassle. It's got this special USB end, of course, and then that is connected, so it's actually 2 cables to the longer cable. So just be aware of that. I have not taped it, but every once in a while I think I should just tape it together to keep it from accidentally being pulled apart. So that's my setup. Now, I'm going to use a different setup, a simpler setup for some of the work here, because I don't want to load 16,000 songs for walking you through what your system's going to look like when you first start it up. I have a system that only has the content I purchased through Steam on it. That's only about 318 songs. It instantly loads and there's no problem. When you have the number of songs I have, it takes a half an hour to load even on a nice fast computer like I have. So we'll do that on a little bit different system that I've set up for this purpose. If you don't already have Rocksmith Remastered 2014, you can certainly get it from many online and real life retailers. You want to be sure, obviously, to get the right version and that it has the cable included that you need, the special Rocksmith cable. If you download Rocksmith from Steam, you're going to need to buy a cable. And again, you can get that on Amazon or probably many other online retailers as well, and you can get them very quickly. I like to have a couple of extras around, and I have actually burned through extras, not only using them myself, but giving them away. All right, it's time to take a look at Rocksmith 2014 and the setups that I talked about, the user settings and the things to tune Rocksmith to the way that you play guitar and the way that you want to see the music appear on the screen. So let's take a look at that right now. Before we go into the learn a song mode and start playing for the first time, there's a little bit of setup we really should do. And even if you have been playing Rocksmith for a while, you might want to look at some of the setup that I'm about to go through. If you're going to invest time in learning your skills and technique and in learning a lot of songs and playing a lot of songs, it's worth having the right setup. I'm going to go into Tools down at the bottom of the screen, and then we'll go into Options. Go into Play Settings. Okay, here you're going to find things that really relate to how your guitar interface looks while you're playing. So let's start with the guitar stock. The guitar stock allows you to choose, are you a 3x3, 3+3 configuration? In other words, 3 strings tuned on each side, or 6 in a straight line. And then you can go and do the same thing for the bass headstock. And in that case, it's a 2x2 configuration or 4 in a line. You can select the handedness, meaning are you a righty or a lefty? And that one's obviously important for which way the guitar is pointing in the interface as you're playing. Invert settings is a very important setting. It allows you to put your lower E string for your guitar or your bass at the bottom of the interface as you're playing or at the top. I'll be able to illustrate that in just a moment. I invert mine because I'm used to looking at tablature online, and tablature typically has the E string at the bottom of the graphic. And so that is going to directly relate to what I'm looking at while I'm in Rocksmith. The master mode is not a critical setting, but it does allow you to change the interface when you're in master mode because it will completely hide the notes if you check the master mode box versus still showing you the notes. Also under the tools, you'll find difficulty settings. Difficulty settings are very important for the learning mode of Rocksmith. One of the great features of Rocksmith is that it is a fantastic learning tool, as I will say many times. The difficulty settings allow you to do anything from start at the lowest level of difficulty and let Rocksmith gradually work you up as you learn a song, to maxing difficulty out from the very beginning and with many settings in between. So let's start with difficulty right at the top. So if you check this box, then it is going to use the automatic difficulty system in Rocksmith. And I think that is of great benefit. Now, if you're an absolute pro and you're just using Rocksmith to be able to learn songs, great, turn it off. In conjunction with the difficulty settings, you can choose your level up speed. So you can, here again, do everything from the lowest level to the highest. And I've just got it set in the middle there. And of course, you can read the guidance for yourself as well. This will determine how fast you'll move up when you're learning a new song. The same goes for the level down speed settings. The sight reading level goes along with the level of difficulty of the number of notes you're being presented with through the difficulty settings. Sight reading can be very, very simple, or it can be more complex. So you can let Rocksmith automatically change your sight reading level as you get better and better at a song, or you can set the sight reading to max difficulty or anything in between. If you set the override to max checkbox, then everything will be overridden to maximum difficulty. So your difficulty settings, your level up, and your sight reading will all be maxed out. So you don't have to tune each one individually, again, if you're that pro and you just want to play at the hardest level. If you get in over your head, you can always restore the default settings. So if you've played around with it and you don't like the way it's working and you're not quite sure which setting you changed or what you want to change back, you can just go back to the defaults and start over. Here's an example of minimum difficulty on a popular song. Notice that the notes are very infrequently presented, and where the song is playing many notes, you're only playing one or two. Here's the same song at maximum difficulty. Notice how many more notes are presented. Before we head into Learn a Song mode, we're going to check a couple of our settings. In the upper right of the screen, you'll see there's an icon that shows the instrument that we're currently playing, and that's the icon for the bass. Now down at the bottom, you'll see several menu selections, including Set Your Path, which is what we'll go into right now. And this is where you can select which instrument you're playing between the bass, the rhythm guitar, and the lead guitar. When you are in these modes, the system will show you whether that instrument is available on any particular song that you're looking at. Also in the path input mode, you can set your input for your guitar. You can choose between the real tone cable, a microphone, or no input at all, which is handy if you're playing with your own guitar and amp, but you're not going to get the feedback of whether you're actually hitting the right notes and that type of thing. Now that we've gone through a few of the basic setups, it's time to take a look at the interface you'll probably spend most of your time in, which is the Learn a Song interface. We're going to take a somewhat shallow dive into the Learn a Song interface at this point, but hopefully give you some great information. Whether you're new to Rocksmith or have been using it, you should pick up some good tidbits here, and hopefully more than a few. So let's take a look at Learn a Song. Next, we'll enter the Learn a Song mode. And when we go into the Learn a Song mode, we'll automatically be looking at the entire catalog of our music or the last user-defined list that we looked at, which is what we have in this case. Now I'm using this B minor blues song for a lot of things because I don't have a copyright problem on YouTube when I use it. So that makes it convenient. Now another way I could have gone directly to this song would have been to use the search mode on the right, typed in part of the title, and that shows me just that song. And that's very handy and convenient. Creating user-defined lists of music is a great way to stay organized, and we will cover that just a little bit later in this series. When we click on or press enter, we'll enter the interface for the song that we want to play, and there's a lot of good information here. In the upper right, it shows you the instrument that you're playing. Obviously, you have the title, and if you played the song before, you'll have the top score that you've achieved by percentage. Then it presents a number of lessons that it might have suggested based on your play. And you can see the ones you've taken, they're checked off, and the ones you haven't, which have no check. It also shows you what other instrument combinations are available. So both lead guitar and rhythm guitar are available in addition to bass on this particular song. I'll be using the bass interface as we move forward through this part of the lesson. By pressing enter, we'll actually launch the song that we want to play. And remember, at this point, you would see the tuner if you had not already tuned to this tuning in your session. There are two other modes that we can access while we're in this interface. One is by pressing Escape, where we get a menu that allows us to do things like resume or restart, access the tuner, and a couple of other important functions that we'll talk about a little bit later. To get out of this mode, you can just press Exit or again press Escape, and that will restart the song. The second is by pressing the space bar, and this is going to access the riff repeater, which you're going to use a lot. We're not going to even talk about it right now. You can quickly see, though, that we're at 100% difficulty, 100% speed for playing the song. Now I'll restart the song. Now, I'm trying to accomplish a few things by playing along with the song here. One is to show you some of the interface elements. Now, you can hear my bass over the other bass. And in just a moment, I'm going to stop playing so you can see that it tells you you're missing notes, which I'm kind of trying to do on purpose here as well to show you that part of the interface. Here I've stopped playing, and you can see both the misses, and you can hear the difference in the bass. See when I come back in right there. It's important to note that you can hear your own instrument with most mixes as you play. Mistakes also make it very easy to hear your own guitar. There you go. There's a good one. Now you'll also see how the interface works. The notes are coming at you, and there's a lot being communicated to you by the length of the notes, bends, slides, that type of thing. And there's a preview of the upcoming notes in the 4 strings at the bottom of the screen as well. Note the bar graph at the top of the screen. It shows you both how much activity there is in your instrument for that section of the song by the colored section of the bar, but also what you've already played and what you have left to play. Let's compare the amount of information that we get when we're playing bass to playing rhythm guitar. So what I've done is, if you'll notice, the icon has changed in the upper right. I'm now on the rhythm guitar setting, and we'll take a look at the difference in how the interface looks. Now this is 100% difficulty, 100% speed. So you'll pretty immediately start seeing some different information, such as chords when it's time to play a chord, but a lot more multi-string, strings at the same time, a lot more slides and that kind of effect on the strings. Just a lot more information coming at you, and it's obviously more complex than the bass, but not necessarily as complex as lead. Now remember, this is the rhythm guitar, so that's not the lead component. Now let's use Riff Repeater to lower the difficulty level, and you'll pretty quickly see how much fewer notes are coming at you. So we're down to about a 16% difficulty, down from 100. So this is one of the values of both a Riff Repeater and the skill increase system. You start simple and you increase as you go along. We've slowed this way down now to take a deeper dive into what you're looking at. And this again is the guitar. All right, there's a slide on the E string, and you can see the chord coming up, E minor 7. Here is an open string. That's what the open string looks like. And you can see how some notes are sustained while others are played and then let go. Here comes another chord. You'll also note these long sustains. That's what these lines are about. Now, this is the rhythm guitar, so it's a little confusing listening to the lead guitar. The rhythm guitar is back there and you can hear it. In just a minute, we'll also look at the lead guitar. At the bottom of the screen, you see the fret that the string is played on, and then which string, of course, is being played. And this also helps you position your hand. Now, this is in B minor, so it's played mostly over the 7th fret. Now we're going to switch to the lead guitar. So I went out back to the main song list, press the Control key, and we'll switch to lead guitar and go back in and do the same thing. It's very fast and easy to navigate around and make these kinds of changes. So now we're in the lead guitar mode. So note down at the bottom of the screen there which fret we'll be playing over. And here again, we're going to start this at a very low level of speed, but it's going to be at full difficulty. So we're at about 16% speed. All right, once again, the lead slides up, and we're holding that note. Then you'll see some symbols that say hammer on, pull off. Those are the arrows inside of the notes. Let's take another look at that. Slide, sustain, hammer on, pull off. There's a slide down, slide back up. So a lot of information, here comes a chord, is being communicated to you through this interface. Now, riff repeater is what allows us to do this slow motion. It just really reduces the speed, and you can also reduce the difficulty if you want to. So you could start at the point where you need to start to be able to learn what you're trying to learn in the song. And believe me, this works. You see the wavy lines there? That indicates you're going to put a vibrato on the string. So, a lot of really great information being communicated here about how to play the piece. And I have learned very complex parts by using riff repeater, reducing the level of difficulty, figuring out my hand positions, and then increasing the speed. It works. Okay, we've jumped back to the bass mode, and we're at the end of the song. And in the Learn a Song mode, at the end of each song, you are presented with your metrics, how well you played, what percentage of the notes you hit, and how accurate you were, and what your level of mastery is, which often goes right along with accuracy. As you can see in this case, I got 81%. I've scored 94% in the past, so that's not particularly good, but hey, we're in lesson mode here. And that's a little bit about how Learn a Song works. As mentioned, I want to give you a quick look at where your downloadable content is stored, whether you're buying it from Steam or using Customsforge.com. And we're also going to take a very quick look at Customsforge. I will actually have an entire episode just for Customsforge. I think it's that important because it's the source of a lot of great material for you for Rocksmith Remastered 2014. For upcoming chapters of this series and for your own edification, it's important to know where Rocksmith 2014 stores its downloadable content. From Steam, you can very easily find where this is. Right-click on the name of the game that you want to locate the content for, and under Manage, choose Browse Local Files. This will open on a Mac a Finder window, on a PC a file browser window, and show you the directory that the DLC folder is contained within. One other thing that this does for you, which is quite handy, is both in their own way, you'll be able to see the directory structure that Steam locates your files in. So in the Macintosh, under my name here, I'm in the Library, Application Support, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, and then Rocksmith 2014 files. So quite the directory path there. If you open the DLC folder, you'll actually see the content that is contained therein. Now, Steam names its files differently, not exactly encoded, but not the same as you'll see later if you download files from Customsforge. So the file names is usually something to do with the artist that created them, and then either a _M or _P. _M is for a Mac file, _P is for a PC file, .PSARC. That is the Rocksmith designation for one of its content files. So I have all these songs for both the Mac and the PC. And I have a very good number of them, as you can see. And you'll have even more when you download files later from Customsforge. I have one single file here that has been downloaded from Customsforge on this particular computer. All right, here's the file name, and this is a file that has been downloaded from Customsforge. And that's the B minor blues that I've been using for some of the videos. So it has the name of the artist that created it, followed by the name of the title and a version designation, and then whether it's Mac or PC. In this case, Mac only is the only thing I got. And so you can see that the file naming is very different, much longer and more descriptive. So that is how you can locate your DLC folder, put files into it, back it up, etc., do whatever you want to do with it. But that's where your downloaded content, whether you downloaded it from Steam or elsewhere, is going to be located. Tremendous resource to all Rocksmith 2014 users will be found at Customsforge.com. Customsforge.com is a not-for-profit website run by volunteers that has created tools to facilitate the creation of Rocksmith formatted PSARC files and provides a complete set of resources and support for people who want to use those files or create them. Basically, anyone can take a song and turn it into the Rocksmith format using the tools and techniques that you'll find on Customsforge. Customsforge then provides a marketplace to be able to find and download the songs that you want. On the Customsforge site, which will look different for you than it does for me right now because I have an account and you'll want to create an account. On the Customsforge site, you'll find quite a few tools, but one of the tools that you'll find includes Ignition Search. So let's go ahead and do a quick search, let's say for Pink Floyd. And you'll see how quickly it comes up with a lot of content that has Pink Floyd in it. That's not only just artist name, but title and everything. So you'll see a lot of different content here. And among other things, it shows you in the rightmost column over here, whether that is formatted for a Mac or PC or both. Remember, that's the m.psarc or p.psrc files. And gives you a lot of other information as well and allows you to download the files, most of which are free of charge. And there are a lot of other things that you'll find here. They have a very active Discord server and many channels, including support. They do provide excellent community support, and the admins and support people that volunteer to provide support on Customsforge do a great job of helping out. And you can really get a lot of terrific information from this site. So I strongly recommend, if you're interested in lots and lots of great content, that you sign up for Customsforge.com and get ready to really increase the amount of songs that you've got available to you. In a future episode, we will be spending a lot of time just on Customsforge and download some content and really get into how that works and how you can manage the content even if you have thousands and thousands of songs. Thank you for joining us for Setup and Startup of Rocksmith Remastered 2014 as part of our series on Rocksmith Remastered. Hope you've enjoyed the content, and if you have, please feel free to do a like, maybe subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time for this and other episodes at Happy Place Home Studio.